Today we're gonna make a list of the best DIYs I've done over the past 8 years. Kinda hard to believe I've been doing YouTube that long, but I have. And some of these videos did really good, and some of these videos didn't get many views, so there's probably something on here that you haven't seen. Anyway, let's get started. DIY number 1. So about 5 years ago, I made a rod rack for a friend of mine. He basically wanted a rod rack that he could take off his boat and put back on his boat easily. Now after I thought about it a while, I came up with a good idea. After filming so many videos and staring at a camera, I realized something really cool would be to make a hot shoe mount for a rod rack. If you don't know what a hot shoe mount is, you probably hadn't had many cameras. But on the top of a lot of cameras, there's a little mount, and it's called a hot shoe mount, to which you can mount microphones, you can mount flashes, you can mount lights, you can mount extra monitors, whatever you want. I got to thinking, what if I made a hot shoe mount for a rod rack? That would be awesome. So I did, or at least I made it as close as I could make it. I welded it together. I made his rod rack to where it would slide in and out of it real easy and clamp down. Then after I painted it, we installed it on his boat. Turned out pretty cool. He liked it. Yeah, hot shoe mount rod rack. I mean, it was different, but it was kind of cool. DIY number 2. Speaking of rod racks, one of the coolest DIYs I did, well, it's been a few years ago, but it was a multi-bar. One day I was surfing through Facebook and I found this rod rack that was really awesome. And of course, I made a video about it. The material I used for it was a little expensive. And I had to drill like 20 holes and tap them. I mean, it wasn't the easiest project in the world, but it turned out really awesome. After I did the video, I had it powder coated and put it on my friend's boat. Then I found out that a company makes these rod holders, and I didn't know it. So I made another video and I shouted out that company because I don't like stealing original ideas. I mean, I'll copy somebody, but well, after I checked out multi-bars, theirs was like twice as good as mine, honestly. I mean, every piece on that rod rack, theirs is twice as thick as mine. So I would have had to spend twice as much money on the materials to make one just like theirs. Plus, when I got mine powder coated, it was like 40 bucks. Well, I really like those rod racks, and I wanted some, but I didn't want to build another set because it was too aggravating. So I got me a set of multi-bars. Now I made another video. And on that video, me and David made some mounts for the back of my boat to install my new rod racks on, which turned out freaking awesome. I really do like them, seriously. That matches that boat pretty dang good. But if you want a set of rod racks that are really cool, go check out Multi-Bar. Or you can check out the video and build them yourself. I mean, that's up to you. But as high as aluminum is and powder coating, you don't save that much money. And Multi-Bar does a really good job at it. I'm just saying. DIY number 3. Now, one of the coolest DIYs I did that got the least amount of views probably, I don't know, was adjustable rod holder bases. I mean, you got regular rod holder bases like this right here, you see? I actually use these on my boat. These come from Monster Rod Holders. You know, Steve Douglas. Well, I had DIY where I made adjustable rod holder bases. Once you bolt it down, put your rod holder in it, you could adjust your rod holder to where your rod could be at any level that you wanted it to be. And the material for these wasn't very expensive. It was really easy to make them. They turned out awesome. They looked and they operated really good. Like I said, it was easy to make them, but it might not be as easy if you didn't use one of my other DIYs. And it was a bandsaw table. And you can buy these things from Swag Off Road, I think it is. But I decided to build my own and it wasn't really that hard. All you need is a portable bandsaw, a couple of pieces of steel and some bolts. You're probably gonna need to be able to weld. But you can make yourself a bandsaw table for a portable bandsaw, and it makes DIY projects really, really much simpler. I'm just saying. DIY number 4. A guy that I work with bought himself a new fishing boat. It was brand spanking new. And of course, if you've ever had a new fishing boat, you don't want to drill no holes in it. I mean, at least not while it's new. Know what I'm saying? But he wanted a rod rack because he saltwater fish and needed something to put his rods in. But he didn't want to drill no hole. And he throwed all that on me. And what I come up with was a cleat mount rod holder. It actually turned out really cool. I mean, you could pull those rods all the way to the ground and it would hold them. And it was like 2 or 3 different sections. There was no welding, everything bolted together. And it bolted right to one of your cleats on your boat. So it held it on there. You didn't have to drill no hole. You didn't have to weld nothing. Oh my God, I knocked a hole in my ceiling. Dang it. But you did have to bend something. So in order to make the cleat mount rod holder, you're probably going to make you a press brake, which I also made a video about. But to make the press brake, you are going to need to know how to weld. I'm just saying. And you're going to need a press, like a Harbor Freight press or some other kind of press. But I'm going to tell you now, that press brake turned out really awesome and it's really, really handy. Why? It'll even crush a reel. What a piece of junk. Like it's nothing. So, you might want to go watch that video if you want to make a cleat mount rod holder. That's all I'm saying. DIY number 5. On this DIY, I made a rod storage rack to go in your boat. And the biggest majority of people don't have an aluminum welder, so I made it out of steel so anybody can make it. Except for the rod holders themselves, I use plastic for those. But the thing about steel, everybody says it's gonna rust if you put it on a boat. Well, your boat trailer is made out of steel and it don't rust. I mean, as long as you put a good coating on it, it'll be fine. And the thing about steel, steel is lighter than aluminum. I know aluminum's lighter, but you have to make aluminum so much thicker that it becomes more heavy, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the hot shoe rod rack I made out of steel. Then you have the multi-bars out of aluminum, which are freaking awesome, by the way. But my point is, the steel rod holder was actually lighter than the multi-bar rod holder. Steel ends up being lighter because you can use a much thinner material, if that makes sense. Anyway, if you want a rod storage rack for your boat, go watch that video. And if you can't weld and you don't want to make it that way, I even made one out of PVC. I'm just saying. Yeah, rod storage rack for your boat. That's all I'm saying. DIY number 6. Number 6. And speaking of rod storage, I also made a rod storage for my building. Now, I've made a lot of rod storage. I actually got a video of like 10 or 11 different kinds of rod storages. I'm pretty sure. And I've made several different rod storage racks out of PVC and stuff like that. But my favorite DIY about rod storage was the rod storage rack that I made a few years ago. Right after COVID, the dang PVC got so high that I had to figure out a different way to make me a new rod storage rack. So I used wood, I used steel, and I used PVC. If you want to see how to make one of them, I got a whole video on it. Cause that thing turned out freaking awesome. That really was my favorite rod storage rack. But I'm gonna be making a new one pretty soon, I guess, because I gave that one away this year at CatCon. Can't live in the past, people. You gotta move on to the future. That's all I'm saying. Fishing DIY number 7. Now, one of the coolest DIYs I did that didn't get a ton of views was the DIY reel covers. Well, reel covers if you have round reels, you know, like Abu or Penn or Cast King, some kind of round reel. They really turned out cool because I made them out of can koozies. And while reel covers are like $7 a piece, can koozies are like $1. Think about that. And a lot of times they even give away can koozies at events and stuff and you can get them for free. But they turned out really cool and all you need is basic sewing skills, some can koozies and some Velcro, I think. I think that's all I use. Can koozie reel covers. You know what I'm saying? DIY number 8. I've built at least 4 anchors on my channel over the years. I had the original river anchor. It was cool. Then I built a river anchor that come apart so you could store it easier. This is the most awesome part of this build. Now, your anchor fits in your anchor locker. That right there's Awesome. Now that anchor I really liked. I really did like it. I liked it so much that I got Never Lost Anchor to make me an anchor that come apart from that idea. And he actually made me a couple of them. Then I built a Colombian anchor and it folded down for easy storage. And that was a cool anchor if you got a really big boat or you fishing really strong current. That Columbia River anchor is really cool. But my favorite anchor that I built of all time would have to be the no weld anchor. And the reason I built that anchor is because to build an anchor, you have to be able to weld, you have to be able to bend, which takes us right back to the brake press video I was talking about earlier. You might want to watch that, you know, the press brake. I'm just saying. But the no weld anchor, I wanted to build it because if people can't weld, the only other anchor videos on YouTube is PVC and stuff, and fill them up with concrete and they're not going to last that long. Plus people that can't weld, they want a regular looking anchor like everybody else, but maybe they can't afford one. So I made one with no weld. I actually used big eye bolts. I did use some JB weld, but that's really not welding, is it? Is it? But the way I put it together, I had to plan that video for a while. And that anchor turned out really cool. I really did like it. So if you can't weld and you want an anchor, go watch that no welding video. Because I really like that video, honestly. I like that video. Fishing DIY number 9. I've made a lot of green light fishing videos and DIY green light videos, but my favorite was the one where I used to clear heat shrink tubing to put over the green light to protect everything. I mean, it wasn't just my favorite, everybody liked that idea. It was an original idea, I'm just saying. Oh, and 411. Green lights are awesome for fishing at night. Well, they're awesome if you fish for perch or crappie or white bass or hybrid bass or largemouth bass, or you know what I'm saying. Certain fish cannot resist a green light. I said that all wrong. Fish could resist a green light, I think. Plankton cannot resist a green light. And when plankton go to your green light, it attracts the bait fish, which starts swarming around the light. You know what I'm saying? Then the big fish can't resist the bait fish. And that's really how it works. Green lights are awesome. And if you've never used one, go watch the video where I made one with the heat shrink tube because it turned out awesome. I'm just saying. DIY number 10. A really cool idea I came up with a while back and made a video on was the PVC knife sheath. And that idea is not just for fishermen. You could use it if you're fishing or if you're hunting or if you're camping or whatever. Just like last week's video where I was talking about how there's not many American made knives. And Dexter knives are made in America, but to keep the knives cheap, a lot of times they don't come with sheaths. But if you got a piece of PVC and you watch that video, then you can make your own knife sheath. I'm just saying. And by the way, it turned out pretty dang cool. I mean, PVC knife sheath. I'm just saying. I mean, look at it. Look at it. It's awesome. You go check it out. DIY number 11. Yeah, 11. I've got probably 3 videos on how to make planer boards on my channel. My original video was probably 5 years ago or so. Use styrofoam top like everybody else. They worked so dang good that I was like, I'm gonna make me a new set. But on my second attempt, I used balsa wood for the top because balsa wood is much harder to damage. And I gotta say, they turned out freaking awesome. I used those things for years and loved them. Now I use the alpha boards, which have the little flippy things, you know, they flip out so you can store them easier. That's all I'm saying.
This is the first planer board where you can actually switch the arm from one side to the other.
But if you want to make you some planer boards and you want some good ones, go watch that balsa wood planer board because those turned out really cool. That's all I'm saying. DIY number 12. Now, one of the funnest videos I did and the most useful DIYs I've made was the fish trap. I actually made the fish trap on the first video. It was called like fish trap video or something like that. Then I made a video on how to use the fish trap and showed how good it worked. And boy, did it work. It actually caught fish every single time we used it. I mean, that's pretty impressive. One little old fish. Ain't even big enough for catch a flathead. Well, I guess one's better than nothing, but that's kind of sad. It caught something every single time, like I said, Over the course of a week and a half, we put that thing out over and over, and we caught fish every time, and then we lost it one time.
Somebody's getting ready to get some daggum. Somebody done stole my trap. Who you calling?
911, what's your emergency?
But I gotta say, that's probably the coolest DIY I've done because it's the most useful. Every time we go fishing now, we throw that fish trap in and get our bait. Oh yeah, and just a little warning. Make sure you live in a state that you can use a fish trap, because in North Carolina where I live, fish traps are illegal. But since my buddy owns his own pond, we can throw it in there and catch our bait. I'm just saying, check your state law, that's all I'm saying. DIY number 13. Is that bad luck? Now, I played around with solar for the last few years, and it's really interesting. I even put solar in my building, then I upgraded the solar in my building. I used a toolbox and stuff from Harbor Freight and made a power station. That video did really good. But the coolest one I've made was this past year, where I made an ammo box power station. The reason it was so cool is because everything in that power station was like plug and play. You didn't need no special skills, everything plugged right in. You just need all the right parts. And all the right parts was in a link in the description box of that video. But I really did like that video because it was so simple. Most people don't realize this, but it's hard to make stuff simple. It really is. And that power station was simple. So if you need some power while you're fishing, go check out that video and make you a power station. That's all I'm saying. So there you have it. 13 plus a few bonuses of the best DIYs on YouTube. Maybe. And if you like this video and you like DIYs, you should go check out my hack videos because I've got a bunch of them. You're probably gonna find something you like. And if you do, go watch it because this video is over. It's over, people. It's over.